only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to another episode of Island Tea with your fave Azim and his favorite producer, myself, Jade. It is Wednesday, 4th of March already. And if you're under my sound of, I thought you are under the sound of my voice, you should be on your way to work at your desk, doing something productive like listening to Island Tea. But welcome, guys. Glad to be here. Happy that you guys are here as well. My co-host will be joining me in a second once he gets his little internet thing sorted. You know how technology is nowadays. But yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you guys? Hope you had a pleasant night's rest. Hope you are feeling much better than yesterday. I know yesterday a lot of you guys were tired from the previous day's festivities. And it might have been a rough Tuesday. But it's hump day. We're halfway through this week. I'm excited for the weekend just because rest, very important. But yes, what's happening? Did I say match? I'm sorry, I meant me. Those M words, boy, those M words. Sorry, thank you, doctor. Good morning to you as well. Those M words are throwing me off. Either that or I'm just not paying attention to what month we're in. But yes, welcome, welcome, and good morning. So, guys, what's happening? Azim had a question for me, but I have to wait until he comes back to ask the question. I don't want to ask him without him because I feel like that question is very personal to him in some way or form. So let me just jump into some tea while we wait to get him. Yesterday, we did mention briefly about some thoughts. People were thinking that the St. Kitts Nevis media is a bit too lapsed and soft when it comes to asking the hard questions. And we did explain briefly, not realizing that yesterday was yesterday was World Press Freedom Day. And the SKN Media Association president was addressing some of those challenges, the challenges that you guys might not even realize is happening. So it says journalism in the 21st century faces challenges in an ever-changing technologically driven environment where threats to the lives of journalists are occurring with greater regularity. Freedom of the press is under threat in some countries. According to UNESCO, 146 journalists worldwide were killed carrying out their duty in countries like Mexico, India, Afghanistan, Colombia, and between 2020 and 2022, between 2020 and 2022, with most of the deaths being unresolved, or lacking information. In light of that, UNESCO has dedicated May 3rd as World Press Freedom Day, a reminder to governments around the globe of the need to respect the commitment to press freedom and support for media which are targets for the restraint or abolition of press freedom. Aubrey Azoulay, Director General of UNESCO, on the occasion of World Press Freedom Day said, "We all must do more to address the risk and seize the opportunities of the digital age. On this World Press Freedom Day, I invite member states, technology companies, the media community, as well as the rest of civil society to come together to develop a new digital configuration, one that protects both journalism and journalists." Which I agree with. As we mentioned yesterday, it's like sometimes people are afraid to speak out because of the repercussions. But in a statement from the reinstituted Media Association of St. Kitts and Nevis, President Andre Huey stressed the importance of the needed operationalization of the Freedom of Information legislation, first passed in 2015. St. Kitts and Nevis, we largely enjoy a free press which has seen the proliferation of media entities, digital and traditional, over the last 2 decades. Despite this, however, there are a number of issues that affect the ability of journalists to perform their work freely and effectively, and which deserve urgent attention. The lack of functioning Freedom of Information legislation, first passed in 2015, is one of these challenges. As such, we join our colleagues at the Media Institute of the Caribbean in the call for the introduction of access to information in an attempt to fight misinformation and disinformation. The sign of maturing democracy is reflected in the buoyancy of its media and the ability of its citizens and residents to access pertinent public information in a timely manner. The Media Association of St. Kitts and Nevis is confident that the advocacy efforts of our executive team and the call for civil society supported by the Association of Caribbean Media Workers will result in the relevant mechanisms being put in place to facilitate access to information. This, in turn, will help provide the framework for an informed public and a dynamic, robust media. We encourage our members to remain steadfast in their works as media professionals and to understand the crucial role we play as the fourth estate in a growing democracy. We wish all our members a happy Press Freedom Day, which again was yesterday. So, yes, there you have it. When you guys were wondering why some of the journalists were more, out there. Azim, are you back?
Yeah.
1 second, let me just turn down our little background music so we could hear you clearly. There you go, friend. Welcome back.
Hey, what's up, Jade?
I am fine. I was just discussing yesterday's activity, which was World Press Freedom Day. We didn't even realize I didn't realize when we was talking about it that, yeah, and they were just addressing some of the concerns and some of the reasons why they feel like the way that press is handled the way currently. Who a burp taking my life? Hold on. Yes. How are you, friend? How are you? I already greeted the listeners and viewers.
Well, good morning to the listeners and viewers. I'm doing okay. I, for some strange reason, got up very early this morning and was like, when you wake up early, but it's right around that time when you can't decide if it makes sense to try to go back to sleep, you should just stay up. There's always that window is like, I could maybe squeeze in another half hour, but then if I try to squeeze it in 15 other minutes, it's gonna make me trying to get back to sleep. So yeah. But I'm doing good. Looking forward to the day. Looking forward to the show. We have some interesting guests joining us today.
Indeed, we do.
But yeah, good thing. We got the World Journalism. What was it? Oh, what's the actual term of the day that was
Press Freedom Day.
Press Freedom Day. Yes. Good thing we got that out of the way, because we're going to do things that aren't necessarily that wouldn't fall into the realm of professional journalism. Because I have a question for the viewers. I would have been asking this question. I have not been able to get proper answers for as yet. And
well, I did mention that you have a question that I am waiting for you to ask.
Okay, so this I must give some context. I must give some context because sometimes people, don't fully understand where certain things is coming from if we don't set, the table before we jump into it.
Right.
So yesterday I went to not yesterday, but I went to the store. And one of the things on my list was underwear, right? It's one of these things. It's one of these things that people tend to overlook, but it's very important, right? It's very important. So I go and I'm walking through the aisle, and to my surprise, next to the boxer briefs were actual briefs. I was like, wait, they're in the kids section? And they were like, I don't know, but this size, this like large and X large and so. Jade, you want to tell me you got big man walking around in brief still?
Yes, I told you so yesterday. I don't know any, but I told you so yesterday.
Who are these people?
You want them to call in and tell you?
Yes.
You want them to call in and admit?
Jade, they must, maybe it's just me. It might just be my ignorance. It might just be my ignorance, because I keep wondering what in 2022, what is the purpose of having adult sized briefs? Like, people just wear them things for real?
Yes, friend.
Wow. Me ain't talking about boxers,
We know you're not. Well, I know you're not.
Me talking about boxer briefs, compression tights, and none of that. Yeah. I'm talking about what colloquially is referred to as underpants.
So you're saying big man don't wear underpants, or shouldn't wear underpants?
I am asking to be enlightened as to why.
Well, I'm gonna go come ask people this bright Wednesday morning, boy.
Jay, you have to understand, right? I am fortunate enough to have a platform where I can reach out to people to get their views on certain topics. I was confused. And so I am using my platform to learn. See, people think that we just come here to talk and bang them out, you know. No, sometimes you have to learn and you have to listen as well. So I'm really hoping that somebody would enlighten me as to the purpose, because I don't get it.
Well, you know, I can't answer that.
I mean, but Jay, this is the thing. This is the thing. You want to tell me that there are women out there who are dating men, let's say in their 30s and 40s and stuff, who ain't rich?
Yeah, probably.
What?
Probably,
But we need
friend.
to hear from them as well. We need to hear from them as well.
You want to know why women are dating these men? Boy, listen.
These are things that they did. Maybe that's why I wake up 6 o'clock this morning, because I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I didn't know what was happening. But again, it might just be my ignorance. I'm willing to admit when I don't know, you know, Jade. That's the thing. I'm willing to admit when I don't know.
Boy, let people wear what I want. If they feel comfortable in the tighty whities, then who are we to judge? Okay, who are we to judge?
The thing about it too, Jade, like, they ain't even got on, like, you can't do nothing with it.
You see any Spider-Man ones?
There was no Spider-Man. But then again, I wouldn't expect, like, big man to be wearing, like, Spider-Man briefs.
Why?
So my thing is,
why wouldn't you expect that?
What would you put on a big man brief?
I don't understand. Why wouldn't you expect that?
Oh.
Like, you think I was big for Spider-Man?
Well, I think there's a reason we don't see it.
Well, somebody said they're using them to keep their testicles in place. So
boxer briefs do the same thing.
Maybe their own got a little more elasticity.
No, they have less.
Not the boxer brief. The people wearing the yeah.
Oh.
Could be that.
Jade, I believe that you get the same level of support.
Test it and tell us.
No. No, Jade.
Test it and tell us, friend.
My particular brand of masculinity would not allow me to engage in such an
But
experiment.
it's for a test.
Look, and if you are a lady who out there and dating a guy who wears briefs, this isn't an indictment. This is me literally.
I thought it was.
No, this is me literally coming to you, like, wanting to understand. This is a request for knowledge. I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was in a costume store or something, and I was like, no, it's Kemat. All right.
Ooh, well, I'm glad I don't date people who wear those. I can't answer that for you, friend. That is not my ministry. But let the people wear the briefs, friend.
No, I'm not suggesting that anybody shouldn't. Actually, I am. I'm going out on a limb here and suggest that you shouldn't.
You shouldn't?
You need to change it.
No, I feel like you're judging.
Yes. Yes, Jay. That's exactly what I'm doing.
I thought this is a safe space.
It is. And that's why I should be allowed to judge.
No.
It can't be safe space it can't be safe space for some and not for others. No? Okay.
No. Let the people wear what makes them comfortable, okay? Okay. You ain't getting your answers. Well, somebody already gave you the answer. It's because they need to hold their things, their cojones in place. So.
That's not a legitimate answer.
You can't say what is a legitimate answer. You don't even know the answer to the question.
I do know that that's not the only way.
Let me come jump into something I say here, because you pressed the wrong things. You want to tell people what to do with the testicles. Out of order.
So wait, it's tea time?
It's been tea time.
All right.
You just weren't here to sing.
Oh. Well, let's just continue. Feel free to call in at any point during the show with the answer to my question.
Do not.
What?
Do not call here to talk about no briefs with Azim. Thank you.
This is a serious conversation, you know. Yeah. And then y'all say I want real journalism. Yeah.
Bruh.
What I'm saying.
Somebody, huh? So, what?
Where these comments coming? Facebook?
What? Please don't mix me in this. Azim is the only person asking a question. Okay? Somebody says they are more comfortable and relaxful.
What? Impossible.
Ask Jade if she wears That's Not Your Business. And maybe Azim have some small text. ... That's what the comments say. So.
Well, up to now, nobody giving me the difference between that and like boxer briefs. Yeah.
They said I'm more comfortable as them.
Impossible, Jade.
You just don't like the answers you're getting. So I will just move on because that's the issue here. You don't like the answers you're getting. So the Ministry of Education, Nevis, to announce official scores for mini Olympics.
Hold on. The mini Olympics ain't got a long time.
It was last week.
So what do you mean announce official scores?
This is why. Controversy surrounding the final tally of scores from the Gulf Insurance Inter-Primary Schools Championship is expected to be cleared up today. Yeah. Speaking to WinFM on Tuesday, Mr. Kevin Barrett, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Nevis, confirmed that the final official scores for the Inter-Primary Championship, amongst other things, will be announced in a press briefing slated for Wednesday, March 4th at 1:30 p.m. So today. You know what happened? The people in over in Nevis was like, they cheat. This is what this all happened, you know? The losing teams said the winning teams cheat. Or somebody for the winning some kind of cheating is why this is happening.
But there must be the fact that the Ministry of Education is now saying they're going to release the official scores. That almost suggests that because that there were some discrepancies or whatever there were some grounds to it.
Well, controversy in relation to inter-primary scores has been an issue for some time and continues to cause outrage. Some people suggested that the psychological effects on the athletes need to be taken into into consideration. Others called on authorities to stop the counting of points, but instead judge the meet based on gold medal count as per international standards, whilst a number of individuals called for the frequent announcement of scores throughout the meet. Other suggestions were made, which included hosting the event over a 2-day period with the opening ceremony and match pass hosted on day one of the championship.
I mean, these are all things that, you know, might add to the experience and thing, but...
May I understand the psychological effects on the athletes, but they're saying losing... May want to mischaracterize what they're trying to say, right? But to me, it's so like this.
When you have competition, Jay, they're going to be winners and losers.
Duh!
The thing for me is that the children that compete, the athletes that compete, they were in the race. Like, they know
that was there.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The idea of contributing to your team's win is important. So, like, you might get a bronze, and of course, your ultimate goal might have been to win a gold medal. But if you win a bronze and that helps to keep your team competitive, then you feel proud about that. I understand, but my thing is, this is the Ministry of Education. They say the Ministry of Education have an issue counting.
Man, I know.
Like that's what almost being suggested here, like the Ministry of Education having trouble counting.
But the Ministry of Education also, well,
How is it that it takes a week to release official results for a sporting competition? Almost as bad as an election.
well, it says, oh, I missed a very important paragraph. So it
Okay.
says, on the day after the inter-primary championship, a document purporting to be official scores from the meet began to circulate. Those scores, however, did not reflect the same results announced at the end of the event. According to the statement issued by the Ministry of Education on Friday, April 29th, they denied any affiliation with the circulating document and shared that the scores were under review. They're not saying that's in here. Stop looking a little funny in the light now.
I could understand why something like that would happen, because generally what happens is there's a running tally, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a running tally, so there's a possibility that the scores that get announced might not include the last set of races or last set of events, the results from those races.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, that is why it's important to be thorough and transparent, because you put the whole thing into question.
Yeah, because the statement given me, we may have possibly something might have gone wrong, or some scores were added incorrectly, or somebody win and they're supposed to win. I don't know.
Something went wrong, because you have two different sets of results.
Yeah, but
So
they said that they're not affiliated. Remember, they said that the one that was circulating in affiliated with the actual scores. But then they also said that they. What is that again? Sorry. May one misquote. They also said that the scores were under review. So why are they under review if the scores from the day before were correct and the ones that were circulating was false? Why would they be under review? I'm confused.
But usually you would have some entity that is well versed and respected in accounting, dealing with Italians. So I don't understand how you get these kind of issues. Especially if you're saying that this is, if it's been purported that this is something that has been happening over time. I don't know, because, and you have to recognize, hopefully the organizers do recognize the importance of this event. This is more than a Nevis thing, this is the entire federation. There's support and go over for this thing, this mini Olympics, This ain't a little thing, like, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. You understand? I love to see the level of support that we give to the athletes.
I miss it.
I know you told me you were trying to go.
Yeah, I miscalculated the dates.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But yeah, next year for sure I shall be there. But I hope they get it solved. And I hope the kids don't get disappointed by the final results, because Lord knows.
Yeah, I mean, I do, and I guess I do. The more I think about it, I may understand where persons are coming from in terms of the psychological impact. Because, I mean, for instance, look at those people who, when there's doping, right? And somebody loses the medal because of doping, you then...
Quite unfortunate.
Yeah, but then you have someone now who then moves up a place because somebody is disqualified. That person doesn't get to stand on the podium. A person doesn't get to celebrate with their fellow athletes. They don't get that moment. You understand? And part of what you do, what athletes do, is those moments, right? So, yeah, missing out on that is definitely disappointing. But so I guess it's the same thing, even if there's a change in which school come first, second, third, that moment when you get to jump up with your classmates and your fellow athletes and the parents and the coaches and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, missing out on that, you know, or have that moment become null and void because, you know, the results were wrong. I understand that, but that's all part of competition, I suppose.
Yeah.
They just need to get it right and then put things in place to ensure that they continue to get it right.
I agree.
Without all the hoopla.
I agree.
The one thing people serious about is the sports.
Listen, competition didn't take its and Nevis don't play, you know.
But Jade, speaking of sports, football returns to the park tonight.
Hey, we're back.
Football returns to the park tonight.
Who playing?
I think it's the President's Cup. It's a President's Cup game. I can tell you exactly who playing.
I think it's football. Let me see.
Let me see. Because I know there are a lot of people. So tonight is St. Paul's versus St. Peter's. At Warner Park. Kickoff is at 7 p.m., guys. It's a President's Cup game. You have entertainment by
you're busy.
Sugar Bowl, Mr. Mention, and Ike the Real Right. So, yeah.
Well, to me, I spicy up the park, boy. I got a halftime chance, so. Look at you.
I think this is a big a big step. Sports in general really has been, really been affected.
It has.
As a result of COVID. I know the Football Association has been working hard to try and get football to return.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things. I had a conversation with a friend of mine a few weeks ago about that. I said, we got all these things happening. Why we can't get football back in the park? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if there's still a vaccination mandate or something that was, because that was one thing that was instituted at one point. I don't know if that still stands.
It's a good question.
I don't know if they've made their port the you know, whatever ceiling was imposed by the task force. Speaking of which, the task force still functioning? Have they dismantled the task force?
Hopefully one of the people listening could tell me. One of the people who have the answer could tell me. Because
I always find it interesting how we just hear about the formation of the task force. And if we are lucky, we get to see the work of the task force. But then when the task force no longer functioning, nobody does nothing. Nobody just come out and give a report.
I see somebody in them blue shirts for sure. It's been a while. So maybe not. Maybe not in that capacity at least. I have not seen any of those blue shirt people in a while for sure. Yeah,
because I need to know, like, as it stands now, when we're talking about social gatherings and the way that we just interact with one another in social settings, are we still subject to the decisions that will be and the protocols that were put in place by the task force?
I would really love
to know that. Nobody does come out and say, all right, we at the place, boom, boom, boom. The task force is dismantling. We like to thank the persons who whatever.
Right, they don't come out with no kind of updates. Why?
And give us a report. Give us a report as to the work of the task force over the past 28 months or whatever it is. I mean, that's something I would like to.
Well, I have an answer. As long as there is COVID, there will be a task force.
So forever then. Like we have COVID going somewhere.
Well, at least they're not employed forever.
So the COVID.
They have a sure job for the rest of their life.
Task force just here to stay.
Yes, basically.
I doubt it. I highly doubt that, Jade.
I tell you what the people said. As long as there's COVID, there is a task force.
That will not happen. Okay. Because COVID ain't going nowhere, Jade.
Well, then neither is the task force.
Impossible. Impossible.
You're going to tell the people them what are going to do with the task force?
But
then you come in here this morning trying to make all kind of decisions. You want people them wear boxer briefs. Briefs. You want to wear boxer briefs. Now you say the task force can't stay. Listen.
Jade, it would be a total waste of resources.
Well.
There's more. If there's more people on the task force than who have COVID,
Those are that. How much COVID cases do we have? 3?
Anyway.
You think as a COVID case drop, did a drop at task force member?
No, what I'm saying is they're the ones who continually tell us that the situation is fluid and constantly changes. So they think it wouldn't change to a point where they're no longer effective and necessary?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So, just like everything around the world, things just come and die out. Because just like that, y'all stop talking about COVID. Then y'all stop talking about the war in Ukraine. Like, how this go?
That's how we go. That's just how it goes. That's just how it goes. Everything is. This is one thing I've learned, right, Jade? In the moment, everything we feel and how we react, everything is amplified in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Think about some of the most hurtful, emotionally distressing experiences you would have had in life. Like at the time.
Well, you're trying to traumatize me on the show. You now got a lot. Why would you say that?
Yeah, I know. But at the time, it seems as though like how you could move on from this. Even when we experience loss and things like that. As time goes by, you learn to deal and cope and you grieve and etc.
Do we, or we just lock them away with all the other bad memories that we have?
No, because generally as time moves on, and don't get me wrong, there's some things that have such an impact on you that the effects linger, right? But for a lot of things, over time, it doesn't inspire the same reactions. It doesn't inspire the same reactions. Even when you think about it, you don't get the same rush of emotion. You don't get sometimes you look back at things that had you crying and you laugh. Like, okay, I might have been overreacting there.
Just a tad bit, you know.
So in the moment, things are amplified. I think, and I keep saying this, I think the way we responded to COVID had a lot to do with the fact that it started in China, which is, more authoritative, has a certain type of culture. Because I don't believe if it started in the US, we would have seen things like lockdowns and mass mandates. It wasn't gonna happen because of the nature of the country.
Yeah, I could see that.
But when the country where it starts has that type of control over its population and is able to institute certain types of protocols, I think that then informs how the rest of the world deals with the same situation. You understand? So,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
Speaking on ongoing situations, guess what happened in the BVI? Again. Again. Take a small guess, friend.
There was another celebrity wedding on one of the lovely islands.
No, friend.
Oh, wow.
No.
Okay.
Not at all. You want me to tell you?
What's happening?
Julian Willock, Speaker of the House of Assembly, resigns. Why would he do that? Well,
he was tired, Jade.
I tired too. I can't resign. You think I can just resign? Can I tired? Yes, I work as him. But the BVI News is reporting that Julian Willock, Speaker of the House of Assembly in the British Virgin Islands, has announced his intention to resign from the post. Willock made the announcement at the start of the House's ongoing session on Tuesday, May 3rd. According to the resigning Speaker, the invitation to resign came from Acting Premier Natalia Wheatley over the telephone this morning just after 8 a.m. Sorry, baby, it's a laugh. The man just got, I said, watch it, you got to resign, eh? Wow.
It's more like, I think you should do today.
Currently?
I think you should, by chance, you happen to have a resignation letter saved on your computer. You might want to print it. Yeah. And submit it.
Yeah. Before you got in the house this morning, I feel like you should get these documents in order. He advised me that the majority of the members agreed that I should resign. Oh, the beef is a funny place, I'm not gonna lie. He advised me that the majority of members agreed that I should resign. During our telephone conversation, I asked the acting premier if I did anything wrong. His answer was no. I asked if he knew in any way that I was implicated in any aspect of the Commissioner of Inquiry's report. That's all like a guilty conscience, me not lie to you. Cause why would you ask that?
No. Of course, you should. I think that's.
But he just said he did nothing wrong. So why would he ask that? If the acting premier tell him he didn't do anything wrong.
Right, but you're asking me to resign. So I'm trying to find out, well, why you want me to resign? That's.
Well, but guess what the answer to that was? No. I asked the acting premier if I was under investigation for any matter of governance or misconduct while in office. His answer was no. This surprised me. He continued. In addition, he said he wanted the day to get his affairs in order. According to him, that includes consulting with his family and attorneys. I have sought legal advice on the matter and have offered my resignation to the acting premier. Honorable members and public will hear more from me on this matter, Willock said. The announcement follows a meeting of local officials and UK ministers for overseas territories, Amanda Milling. This is so why make this strange? So you just asked me to resign just so because?
Interesting.
Somebody saying federal court in Miami says Premier Foy does not qualify for diplomatic immunity since BVI is a sovereign state. Well. Sir, I tell you, you're going to jail, you know. Just accept it.
I don't know. This is going to be a very interesting thing. One of the things too that I've been waiting to see or hear more about was the Panama Papers. Remember the Panama Papers?
Vaguely, but refresh my memory.
There was this it was this huge data dump of information.
Oh yes.
Specifically like accounting files and stuff
outlining. Yes. Offshore banking information and stuff. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of them were like politicians, former presidents and prime ministers and stuff like that.
So do you think the acting premier probably saw his name somewhere in there and was like, somehow I feel like you're doing something wrong, so just resign. Before we find out whatever you're doing wrong is wrong, just resign.
I don't know, but there's obviously something happened there. You don't just call somebody.
Yeah.
Man, be like, hey, by the way,
before you go into the House of Assembly, resign. And let them know you're resigning when you're going there too. No. Something funny in the light, friend. Something a little funny in the light.
Yeah, this plot will continue to thicken, and I think that as time goes on, unfortunately, more and more people may become implicated.
Well, he just told the man he wasn't implicated in anything.
Yeah. But as time goes on, that might change.
True.
And I'm not talking about him specifically. I'm just saying there may be a situation where what has happened is they've only gone after one part of the cog.
You know what I feel? Sorry, go ahead. I'm going to tell you what I feel after.
Yeah. And then not only that, like, there then begs the question, because there's obviously other people implicated. For instance, in the document that was released, the court document, the son of the, what was her position, I guess?
She is over the port.
Right. He suggested that he already had police on the payroll.
What?
So he already had police on the payroll, and they also spoke about how a portion of the money that was being paid was to facilitate payoffs.
No.
So more people are probably going to be implicated. I think we've only seen the start of this thing.
As in the premier and the person over the port is going to snitch. If they are not able to have a favorable outcome where they are released from custody, They alone ain't going in jail. I'm telling you now, they're telling on everybody. Everybody. I wouldn't be surprised if the DEA actually got them to become informants and offer them some type of deal where they get less prison time in exchange for names and situations. Like, I would not be shocked. Because these things happen all the time.
Let me put it this way. I don't know if I believe that's the way it would go.
See
The
there?
reason being,
Somebody says the news come out of the BVI's. The news come out that the BVI premier has started to rat out other Caribbean leaders who does drug trading. I tell you so, he going snitch as him.
no. Well, that's why I was getting at. I was getting at. In terms of people in the in the BVI and thing, I think they catch the big fish.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would maybe expect investigations to come out of, the BVI the local government. And for instance, if there's an election, I would suspect the opposition to run on a platform that talks about stamping out corruption, etc., etc., etc. So I might see things coming out that way. But in terms of the DEA and the U.S. State Department, etc., I don't think they're more concerned about, which police officer in the BVI was.
Me talking about police, you know? Me thinking
know.
about small fish.
Yeah. But that was saying now, if there's any corporation, is either small fish to catch big fish or big fish to catch big fish.
Mm-hmm.
So this is obviously big fish. So you gotta be equally or bigger fish.
Yeah, man.
that's on the agenda. Yeah, so I don't know. It's an interesting scenario. I think for us, though, looking on outside of the surface, like it makes a good story and we talk about it. Oh, Premier was dealing drugs and whatever. I think it really is going to force us to start looking at how do we insulate our leaders, and put them in positions where they are less corruptible. We can expect them to be honorable and righteous and all of that. Like, that has to be something that is put in place. There has to be something put in place to try and lessen that.
Somebody is saying that there is in the BVI there is protest in support of the premier. Somebody else is saying also, I agree. Something is definitely happening for the acting premier to indicate that majority of the local assembly desire his resignation. I believe he was implicated in something else. After they caught the policemen them with the container and jeep filled with cocaine, they should have did their investigation, but the police probably knew about the premier being involved in BS.
Well, I mean, the truth is that if you're going to corrupt the institution, best place is the head, right?
Yeah.
The person giving orders. So
so then the corruption could just trickle down.
Yeah. Cheaper that way too.
Yeah. It is. But so there's an interesting message from our premier in Nevis. Speaking of premiers, it says, morning message as usual. From the GG office to the PM office, everything is being leaked. Our country has a leaking problem and desperately needs a good plumber. Want the transparency? They want to be transparent.
No, but I think there's a difference between transparency. Transparency happens when you're talking about not public information, not private correspondences.
Well, this has been happening for a while. And actually, no, I lie. This haven't been happening for a while. I don't feel like we've seen this many leaks in letters and correspondence and emails in a good while.
Well, I think what's happening is that because of not only the popularity, but the power of social media. Like these things, there's more of an incentive to release, you know, some of these types of documents and information and stuff like that. It reaches a wider audience. Persons are paying attention. It's easily shareable, and so you'll definitely see this happening more and more and more. I think we've only started to see this, and not only that, we're seeing more and more how important it is for people to have records of things that happen either to them or to other people, conversations they've had. We've seen how important it is for people to videotape, for instance, in the States, police brutality and how that plays out in the court. We've seen and how that goes, how far that goes in shifting public perception. And we've seen even in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, I thank God that this man was regarded.
Because look, you see how she would have got this man looking crazy.
And the man get thrown off. Who could imagine Pirates of the Caribbean no Johnny Depp? You see what I'm saying? Like,
I'm glad he said hang on back, you know. Let them mind the tail. Cause you wait for no type of investigation, no nothing. You just ran with some false information. And look at y'all now looking stupid. Because this woman was actually the one abusing this man.
But you see, the thing about it for me is that we live in a society where we can't have those conversations. Like, and that's the problem I have. Is
which conversation?
The conversations about, hey, perhaps this isn't all that it seems to be. Perhaps we should allow persons time, or allow the process to take place. Because then you say, oh, you're being dismissive of things. You have to believe women. You have to think. And it's like...
We have to believe evidence. Not because you're a specific gender, that mean that whatever you say is truth.
But not only that, like, sometimes people just trying to ask questions. And when you ask questions, you get dragged.
Yeah.
So we're in a society now where you can't even ask questions, and I think that's dangerous. You like, for instance, when the whole Megan Thee Stallion thing came up, I was like, there's too much things that don't make sense here. And I remember we spoke about it on the show, and when I left the show, I got messages and calls from people telling me they don't believe I should have said that. And blah, blah. I said, but if the thing don't make sense, why you can't point out what don't make sense and ask a question?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Like, yes, of course.
You see the updates though? That she had stuff when he asked, when he tried to pay them to be quiet and stuff like that? I feel like Toby in jail, you know. I feel like Toby in jail.
No, but he showed it.
Yeah.
He should tell them to be quiet. He's a public figure. Like, that's not strange. That's what you do. Like, I know I'm innocent. I know me do nothing. But you trying to drag me, and this is going to cost me tons of millions of dollars in endorsements, in whatever, because I'm a public figure. Of course, I should come to you and be like, hey, take this $1 million and give me a break now. Like, that don't mean guilt. That's me trying to protect my image. And it's something that he's spent time building. Like, you can't expect him to not try to protect it. The first thing that struck me as strange, so this man shoot you and you jump back in the SUV with him? Somebody just pull out a gun and shoot you, and your next move is to jump back in the vehicle with the person. Like, you don't make, like, there's no conclusive evidence of any gun residue on him. Like, I watched the Gayle King interview. I'm sorry, it didn't seem genuine to me. I didn't seem believable. You get shooting your foot.
And if she's lying, she needs... I feel like when people are caught lying or proven to be lying in situations like these, or anything that affects people's lives and livelihood, they should then be able to have the same punishment that the person would have gotten if they was guilty. So, for instance, if you you accuse somebody of rape and they are proven to be innocent, then you should be punished for your false allegation with the same punishment that they would have gotten if it was proven to be true.
Yeah, when it man, it's terrible. It's terrible the situation that people get put in
Yeah, but
because
let's take some calls before they
Mhm.
feel like we're ignoring them. Good morning, caller. You live?
Yes, good morning. How are you guys doing?
We're fine.
Doing great.
All right, nice to hear. I guess you guys was just talking about the Tatola issue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to just, see if you want to make any comments about like what you feel about. I mean, I'm understanding that the UK might be trying to cancel my local constitution and run Tatola directly from England. If any comments to that or any truth to that, and also if you want to make any comments about like the Roe versus Wade abortion rights issue in America right now, and I know one of your favorite callers will be happy to hear that that speaker down there in Tatola resigned. Hopefully he could call in and put his input in as well, because he likes when he hears these officials would retire rather than being hard headed and stubborn when they find themselves in trouble. But that's my little contribution, man. I'll listen off the air, and hopefully that guy might call in.
Thank you. I mean, we spoke about the. Sorry, my mind just went blank. What did you say again?
You were saying if we want to speak about the fact that
Oh, the UK thing. Yeah.
maybe a suspension of the local constitution.
Yeah, we spoke about that one yesterday.
I think that in those situations, I'm not generally a fan of. Um, and if that is to be the case, then I believe that that the powers that be have other motives, have other motives in play, because the actions of this one person shouldn't then suggest that the people of the BVI are incapable of running their own affairs. Like, I don't know how you come to that conclusion, unless you're suggesting that the people in England or wherever are uncorruptible beings that always make the right decisions.
Like, come on, sir, sir. The people of England have been stealing things from us for time and time again. From the beginning of time, they stole all these countries, and y'all want to believe that they're uncorruptible? They have things that don't belong to them on display in their country. And we have to beg them for our things. We have to beg them to return the things that they stole from us. And y'all feel like that? Nah.
Not
It's
only
okay.
that, Jay, like if we believe that the narrative that is being put out is truthful and the whole truth, I think we're very delusional at that point. If we believe that they're going to suspend the constitution,
But
so
what
that,
they said that, sorry, they said
so
they
they
are not.
can
Huh? Sorry?
if yes, I'm saying if we think that they're just suspending it so they could investigate so this thing don't happen give me a break. Give me a break.
Bruh, come on.
Give me a break. We see what happens. We see what happened in the Dutch islands, As close as Statia is to us. A lot of people don't be watching what's going on in Statia, Statia, they did something, the Dutch did something very similar in Statia. They had a whole election and Dutch just come over and take over everything. The people the representatives of the people who lived there voted for, just became puppets. They had no real power. They literally came and took over the government.
Yeah, we can't be heading backwards.
And what they did, they the same thing. They used the guys of public funds aren't being used properly. There must be some corruption. Let's come in. But then all of a sudden they start to make all kind of laws about, if you pass, you can't transfer your goods to your kids. It has to revert to the government, and then your kids have to then apply to the government to get a portion of it. And all them kind of stupid.
Like, come on, bro. Come on.
So we know how this goes. Like, I
I
really
don't
hope that.
understand how humans have this type of power, like what gives them this type of right and power to do these kind of things? Like what gives you the right and power to decide you going into somebody's country because you feel like you used to own it and decide to make rules that benefit you over the people that live in the land? Like how that makes sense to you? Like
Yeah, that's what happened. I'm literally in St. Thomas now. Bear in mind that these islands were once
friend
Dutch.
Wally hostage? I just try to figure out what's going on here.
But no, it's okay. It's okay. But no, I'm saying that these islands were once Dutch. They didn't fight no war for it, they paid money for it. They just bought it from Dutch.
You can't just buy people. That's no, y'all just feel like y'all could buy people.
They bought the island. It just happened that
the people was there.
The people came as a package deal.
Wow, imagine that. Buy an island, get people free. Buy.
As a matter of fact, Epstein Island up for sale. You want to buy it?
No, it's okay. I don't want whatever demons over there to steady when I buy it. Like I feel like they might just need to knock it down. You could yeah, you could blow up an island, blow up that. A matter of fact, why all these rich countries who trying to buy little islands don't want to buy that? Let them. That's what they should buy. Nobody over there buy that.
Oh my. Could be.
Somebody said somebody said not Dutch, Danish, but somebody else also says the Pandora Papers biggest money laundering and corruption in the UK. Russian money in the UK. The UK is corrupted, basically. We know. The UK corrupted, the US corrupted, Russia corrupted. Wait, we ain't corrupted. That's a better question. Where do you feel isn't corrupted in the world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the idea of the British suspending yes, I understand the correction, because we did say cancel as opposed to suspend. So the idea of suspension of the local constitution to do some type of investigation to prevent this type of thing in the future. Come on, y'all can't even prevent it in your own house.
You are coming people, but hey, that does piss me off, you know.
Let's not try that.
Yeah, try to exactly. That is a valid point, Azem. They can't even prevent it in their own country, but they feel like they could do it in other people's country.
In 2 years. They can't do it in 500 years over there.
but 2 years, they feel like they could do it in somebody else's country.
The island. Yeah, no problem.
All right, we believe y'all. Y'all trying to uncorrupt, yeah.
No, y'all trying to ensure that you all get part of whatever corruption happening.
Duh. Anyway, we have a caller. Caller, good morning. You're live.
Good morning, Jade.
Good morning.
Good morning, Adam.
Morning.
I'm listening to you guys, and I'm so depressed.
Sorry.
At least I'm trying to get depressed because we're talking about the same thing every day, all over the place, and it ain't getting better.
Nope.
But I just want to share with you guys my exciting news today.
Okay.
Today is the birthday of my prince, my king, Emmanuel Howell Griffith.
Happy birthday, Azim.
Happy birthday to my son. 30 years. God has blessed me with him. And I just want to say happy birthday. I know he's not awake. Azim, you know what kind of life y'all live.
He might be. He's actually an avid listener, so he might be.
It may. You never know. I would be surprised. But anyway, I just want to say happy birthday and thank God that he's given him 30. He's given me 30 wonderful years. He's been an awesome son. An awesome son. And I just want to say happy birthday. I'm so excited. I wish I could have been with him today on his birthday, but we'll get together soon.
Indeed.
So, I got a question for you guys.
Oh, dear.
What is this letter, the help me understand, please. Help it make sense for me. The letter that now is it the Governor General has written back?
To who? Which governor?
There was something this morning about a letter that they Governor General has now responded to the request to those guys that he can't do anything. When are we going to stop going around in circles, guys? When are we going to stop playing the fool with this thing and just, do what you got to do and move on? It's crazy. There's something out there in the news that the Governor General has just written back to say that there's nothing that he can do with where we are. And I don't know if anybody's paying attention to this. It's not making us look good. Nothing was happening before. Now the investors really ain't going to come because we look shaky. We look crazy. We sound crazy. So please, Prime Minister, whoever the other players are, y'all get y'all act together. Go sit down in the corner. As a matter of fact, go up in the mountain and throw some stones at each other. Whatever it is you all got to do. But work it out and let's move on. Life is too short. And our country is in jeopardy. So please, help us make sense of this thing. Because it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Guys, that's my rant for this morning.
I appreciate it.
But I'm still celebrating my baby birthday.
Of
As
course.
you should.
I'm still celebrating my baby's birthday. Have a blessed day.
You as well.
Okay, bye-bye.
I haven't seen that. Did I miss something? How y'all ain't send me this?
I haven't heard that, but I'm not surprised. I don't think the Governor General, I don't know what he was expected for him to do. I don't think that's how it works.
So if that's not how it works, why would they? Anyway, let's take our next call. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good morning, folks.
Morning.
It is true that corruption exists everywhere, but that is not an excuse to not do something about it anywhere. Okay? And so, whatever and wherever it happens, we should look at our system and make sure we try to mitigate against it as far as possible. The problem is that we seem not to want to do that. The system that we have that is supposed to make sure that at least it's reduced doesn't seem to be working. Things like the Public Accounts Committee, things like the Integrity Commission, those sort of instruments doesn't seem to be working, right? And so, they're saying when your neighbor's house is on fire, wet your own. We should be doing the same thing here because you can bet your life if the U.S. can just take up a foreign leader and prosecute him. You can do the same thing. It's true the BVI is not a sovereign country, but you can do the same thing. The U.S. can do the same thing to any one of the countries in the Caribbean who they feel are violating their laws. Okay? And so I just want to make sure that we don't use the excuse of, well, they do it too, to stop this. And the fact is, the BVI is not an independent country. They're ruled by Britain, essentially. And so if they want to do something about their constitutional arrangement, then get up and do so. Don't stay under the British flag. They don't have to, right? If the islanders there wanted the independence, they could get it easily because these days, and according to the UN Charter, the UN has pretty much outlawed colonialism, right? So it's up to them to do something about it. With regards to leaks, right? I say good for whoever is leaking, because if we don't have systems that hold public officials accountable, we'll never know what's going on. The World Justice Project ranked us almost dead last in the area of openness in government. Okay? And so with that kind of record, I say good for the whistleblowers. leak as much as you could, because this is supposed to be public information. This is not anybody's private firm or private practice or private shop. All right? This is public. This is public money, public affairs. And therefore, leak, by all means, leak, and leak as much as possible. There are very few, yes, there are some sensitive areas. I mean, nobody wants anybody leaking anybody's medical stuff and that kind of thing. There's some very private and personal information that you have to draw the line. But things like these that give the citizens an idea of what exactly is happening behind the scenes, because a lot of things are apparently happening that we don't ever know about, right? And so it's good when these sorts of things come out so that the public knows exactly what is going on there. And finally, right, when things like these happen to leaders, somebody used the term insulate our leaders against things like these. The leaders should be incorruptible, right? I think it's the St. Martin. They don't vet their candidates before an election, but once you get elected, then you have to go through a vetting process, and where things like your assets are declared, etc., right? We don't do that here, so we can elect anybody, all kinds of scams. And we don't know that they are, and they go in there, and they don't, and what you expect, all right? We have to get control of the way that we select our candidates, the people that we elect, okay? Because they're vested with so much power, and therefore they can abuse it, all right? So that I think is where we are with that. And it's highly unsatisfactory that in this particular case, when they promise to deliver the good governance thing, right, that they're still making excuses for this not happening. The same kind of freedom of information that we talked about. They've been talking about it for years. Still not happening. The same thing with the Integrity Commission, right? Nobody has declared their assets, so nobody knows what they make from being in government service. It's time that ends. Okay? That's my contribution.
Thank you, caller. Well.
All right. So for me, the issue of the suspension of the my belief is this, and of course, like I keep saying, since we first started discussing this should be something that forces us to look at our situation to ensure that we have the safeguards in place to prevent these types of things happening to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
My issue with this particular situation in the BVI is that, one, this isn't an issue of the person, let's say, using funds that came from England for their own personal gain or whatever. This person was involved in, our persons were involved in drug activity.
Yeah, but remember, this inquiry didn't start with this, you know.
Yeah, that's true. But what I'm saying is, a lot of what is pushing this narrative now of, but we need to go there and do something, has to do with this because of the public attention that is brought.
Mm-hmm.
And to say anything else otherwise is not fully appreciating the situation. So my thing is, you're gonna then, it's almost like you're deciding then, because of the actions of this person or that person, that the people there have no right to self-determination, right? No, I agree with the caller. If you guys want to come from under Britain rule, then go ahead and make that, and there has to be something that the BV Islanders would have to decide on, right? The other issue I have, and this was the main point I was making, whenever these places come in, they always have one agenda that they put out for being the reason that they come, and the things that they institute have nothing to do with the reason they said it was there. And we've seen it all the time. We've seen it with France. We've seen it with, and Saint Eustatius is Dutch. We are talking about Denmark. Saint Eustatius is Dutch. It's not Danish. It's Dutch.
Oh, somebody said Danish.
Yeah, it's Dutch. But that's my concern. My concern is that you come in, you're saying, oh, you're looking to stamp out corruption, so we're going to suspend the thing for 2 years. And then they go and they make all sorts of laws and things that have nothing to do with why they was there. And when you really look at who benefits, it's just more of an extraction of value and wealth from the island back to the colonial master. Because we could say whatever we want to say, just like how we say the instruments ain't working in the government, all these UN charters, half of them don't work neither. So you could say what you want, but we know exactly what is happening in reality. So my concern is that when they come and they enter the country, they have their other agendas, they have things they want to institute. They have things they want to institute. No, remember the premier put the statement, say, oh, they were trying to catch him and whatever. That might be true, you know, but you give them the perfect opportunity. Because they're trying to set you up and things, you still end up in that kind of weird meeting talking about you got the port and the airport unlocked. Understand? So
port and the airport, boy.
There's no excuse for that. But my thing is, we can't ignore the fact that these countries, they come in and they go, oh, they give off this impression like they're so righteous. Like, give me a break. And that's just the reality. That's just the reality. Like, if you have a different view, I respect that. But we see it all over. We see it in Aruba, Curacao, and thing, right? Come on, they do it all the time.
Somebody said, somebody says it's not really Azem because of the inquiry, the officials from the BVI were supposed to go to the UK for discussions, but since he was arrested, the British went to the BVI instead.
All I am saying is, when these countries come in and say, oh, we got to come and look because y'all know what y'all doing, what ends up happening is they institute all sorts of policies and laws that really and truly do very little to achieve what it is they said they went there to achieve, and end up instituting policies that really and truly extract more and more wealth from the dependents. That's what has happened. I say, and I hope in any case here, but I have no reason to believe that it's going to be different
from things that we've seen before with other countries.
Yeah, I have no reason to believe that's going to be the case.
Same situations, other countries. Yeah. Let's take another call. Hola, good morning. You're live.
Hey, good morning, Jade.
Morning.
Good morning, Asim.
Morning.
Are you enjoying the discourse? Now, yesterday on another radio station, on Active Dominion, this brother played a clip where he said 2 years ago, this prophet, he went to this church, and the prophet was telling him, stop the traveling. They're trying to set you up and get you. Right? He was warned. Still went. Now, the caller before me made some statements. You ask him for leak. Leak goes further than you expect, When you have an election and you have the former ministers and the permanent secretaries emptying all the cabinets and the desk before they leave, leaving empty cabinet, empty desk, isn't that a sign of corruption? What do you think? If they were left behind, there could be a leak, And when things are leaked, how do you know it is the authentic document unless it is confirmed? Because with the technology now, people making up things, even the one with the schools. Somebody purporting the thing to come from the education department when it was not. And I wish there was some way where we could track who is the source, the sender of these postings. Because unless you check the source, you get caught up. And people do things for different purposes. Now, I am against the British. And if you are following the news, they try blacklisting, grey listing, white listing. The British, in fact, have complained about the BVI being one of the top offshore registry. So, and the U.S., so it was a joint operation. Don't fool yourself, you know. That thing was organized and orchestrated, you know. And so they want to go in and take over. For 2 years now, they're able to search the whole registry, check and back check people because they're laying off everybody. See what I mean? Nobody has rights, or very limited rights. So they must come up with an excuse, just like how they went into Iraq. You know, the Iraq story, how the man had all of these kind of things. It's the same scenario you're dealing with, you know. And the timing of the release of the Commission of Inquiry. The thing is orchestrated if you follow it. They did not get it that same day. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
The whole thing is orchestrated to take over the BVI government and to get access to the financial services sector. So there must be something that sounds good to us. They're moving in, just like how the U.S. moving to Haiti, and they all take over. It's the same story you're watching. But
They do it all the time.
man was,
They do it-
I don't know why our leaders don't think. Why you
They
don't
do it
think?
all the time.
You can't smell a bit. I assume you can't smell a bit. You better smell bit, you know, because you don't travel.
Hey, I gotta get me for caught up, you know. Oh.
No, it's true. Look, sometimes they want to get at your family, they go for you. If they can't get to your mother, your father, your sister, they go for you. All right then. My phone
Thank
ringing.
you.
All right then.
I think I hope you can smell better, you know.
I hope it will smell better too.
You're better.
No, but Jade, that is my point, Jade. Like it's too many times we see it over and over again. There's something that they want. Generally, there's some access to wealth. Jade, all these countries, we talk about it all the time. Whenever these, let's say, superpowers see these islands, see these countries doing anything that seems to be generating, they want it.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
No, they want
mash
y'all
up-
to be
they
self-sufficient, you crazy?
They constantly mash up every industry that we have that somehow allows our people to live a better life. Every single time. The people in Dominica, they're planting banana, they come and say, oh, we're instituting a class thing now. So, oh, your bananas ain't up to scratch. You understand? We imagine the country can decide we going to allow people to invest in the country, and in return, we allow them to become economic citizens. And next country can decide something wrong with that.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that as
This is the same people who literally running a green card lottery, where all you got to do is type in your name and upload a picture, and you get a green card. What are you really telling me? But like, anyway.
as our guest is here and he brought gifts, but guess who ain't here to receive the gifts?
Lado.
This is the kind of guest I like. How you bring things for us. Bring a little drink. No, just come here and chat us out and don't even bring us a little cookie, nothing. But we good guests. I wonder if this is a bribe.
As promised.
As him?
I thought he was here, as promised.
No, he's not here. I wonder how uncorruptible we are when we guests bring us things.
No,
You think this is a bribe to go easy on him?
No, it's just a show of appreciation.
A peace offering?
A show of appreciation. That's all it is.
Remember, you can't take things from politicians and all of a sudden the boy be you.
Aye. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
What happened?
I just saw the video on YouTube of what he bought.
Of what?
Of what he bought? Of what the gifts? Of what the gifts?
Yes, the man brought us some good coffee.
Remember, I could only see you on, you're in turn on your camera, so I could only see you on YouTube.
Oh, for you? What friend? You wait till now to say it? The show soon done. You can't see me all the time. You ain't saying nothing.
I'm watching YouTube, so I'm watching what right now.
You could have seen me there.
Oh, thank you.
I can't believe you can't see me all this time and you ain't say nothing.
Well, since he was so generous, with his offering, perhaps we could prepare to jump into the interview.
I think we should. So, guys, we will take a very short break and be right back with more Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Here are your hosts for Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tax Special.
Running April 21st to
May 4th. Pearl pancake mixes, $10.99. Langus cranberry juices, $9.99. Nabisco Oreo cookies are just $19.99. Tropicana punches, $7.99. Lactate milk, $17.99. And Tony's pizzas are $15.49. And now your very low weekly
value deals. Multi-meal cereals, $12.99. Pillsbury cake mixes, $5.99. Suave essential shampoo and conditioner, $7.99. Pepperidge Farm cakes, $14.99. Dial soap, $9.99. Extra liquid detergent, $12.99. Shop smart, shop Value Mart. Joan in español.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a
Value Mart.
Hey guys, welcome back to Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN. And as you have heard, we have a very special guest in the studio. And of course, he came bearing gifts, so we have to respect that. We're in the studio. We have with us Mr. Leon Natta. Mr. Natta, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, and I'm pleased to be back. And of course, as promised, the next time I come on Island Tea, I will bring the tea. So
You see how you're talking, mine.
I just want to deliver. I just want to make sure I deliver.
I love it. I love it. But how are you? But how are you doing, man? I mean, there seems to be a lot happening. I could imagine that right now is a busy time for you. You know, yourself being involved in the political arena and just so much happening in and around politics in St. Kitts. We definitely one of the political spotlights in the Caribbean. So how have you been dealing with that and handling just, you know, all the extra energy that might be given to that particular part of your life?
Right. I'm glad for that question. Honestly, right now I'm in a good space. I'm happy. You know, people look at my face and sometimes the people may say you have some beards and so because I'm happy. I mean, my happy feeling right now, you know. I feel like, you know, like Tawas Riley, it's my day. It's my time. And I'm so hopeful and that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, despite all that is going on, will find some time for themselves to be happy, you know. And I took some time off away. I still have processes going on with the government, and so it forced me to had to take some time off from St. Kitts so to find vacancy and support myself and my family. But in that time, you know, it gave me time to think and reflect on what transpired during the last campaign, and at the same time, keeping in touch of what was going on in St. Kitts during that time. There were some disappointing moments, one of which was, and it cemented in my mind why I need to be in politics. The dreadful moment of seeing a video sometime late August last year, especially during a COVID time. As difficult as things were, I think there's no reason for our citizens to be going to solid waste to storm a container that is about to dispose food. And when I saw that just before...
I missed this.
Yes, and when I saw that just before independence, and then you hear the independence message from the leaders of the country, the prime ministers and so on, that everything is good. I said, everything is saying it can't be good. And so that cemented in me the reason why I had to return to get on this platform again, so I can champion in the cause for the people. The last amount here, Azim asked me about, I think it's Azim, asked me about the success I had in the elections, and I mentioned to him the success I had outside of the elections, which was one where there was where we dub as the champion of the civil servants. If you look at what that victory has done, and I'm so glorified about it, is that look at all the political platforms right now. We have Senator Clark, who is a civil servant and is appointed as senator of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, who is in Parliament. That's a female. If you look at the PLP conference that they had some months ago, look at the person who chaired, who is from the legal office in the government. That's a civil servant also. If you look at who people are speculating to be civil servants, candidates for these other parties, you would see a young fellow who used to be a teacher and is now, I think, works at Sustainable, one work in agriculture. A young lady is mentioned who is working at social services, all civil servants. So the victory in the court has been decimated throughout, and the understanding is there now that civil servants shouldn't be left out. And look at the majority of them who are considered as women. So I think, you know, there's much to be happy about, despite, you know, but we can't forget what is going on. And so I'm so thankful of what my contribution was, and I'm even more thankful and hopeful of what my contribution is going to be going forward in this political season.
Well, let's talk about that. Many people would say that you may have one of the toughest fights, as you would be coming up against the current Prime Minister. Last election you weren't successful, but what do you think you can do differently now that may bring a victory to your party and to cement your seat into the next government.
Right, and there's no doubt about it that if you look at it from the outside, rightfully so, the odds may be stacked against me, especially if you look at it as a numbers game. Success is relative. As I mentioned, I would have not been successful at the polls, but I think I made success in the impact on people's lives. Because of my presence, I think people were reached out to more than what was expected. People received more attention more than what was expected. I think the package that, after listening to the people and canvassing and so on, the package that I put together and said, these are what the intention would be to develop the constituency and beyond, people understood that. And I think having that experience, having that understanding, and also now, because of what has been going on, I think so much has transpired that the playing field is even now. There is
You think so?
I think so. I honestly think the playing field is even. The responses of the people when I canvassed the last time is much different now. People are more open up. They understand what is going on more now in the communities and in the country. And kudos to them, because I think people have taken the time to listen, to look at, and they have made a conscious decision that I deserve better. I want better, not just for myself, but for others. You know, I spent a lot of time yesterday in morning canvassing, and the responses and the communication and the discussions were so much different from the last time.
Can you share some of those?
Well, I'll share one in particular. This one particular house that I went to, a lady, and she has one son who is about 21, and next one who in probably 1 month time will be 18, and another 10-year-old. And we sat there and we discussed how the village of Molineux was back in the day. We championed the cause when it was in volleyball. At one point, our volleyball team was made up of, if there's 11 people, 10 of them or 9 of them used to be from Molineux. We were that dominant. In netball, we had Carmelita Gilbert and Miss Penny Feather, who were champions, part of that back in the day, netball, all-star kind of thing. In cricket, when it comes to cricket, our legacy is cemented by the Noel Gishard, Livingston Harris, the Edgar Gilbert. We have those. Molineux used to be a place in St. Kitts where everybody wants to go. There was excitement. I played a role in that. I established a basketball league, a football league, and at our last meeting in St. Paul's, I saw a young guy and I said, I told your son the other day how he came about being your son, you know. It's because of the basketball league that was in Molineux. You came and saw his mother, and you became an offspring of that. So, you know, we need to bring back that part of our communities where we had that togetherness and so on. You know, and while we're here, I listened to a song that says, can't we all just get along? And I'm hopeful that my impact would change that type of tension that we have within the communities and so on. So I believe right now the playing field is a bit level. You know, lucky on my side, but lucky on the Prime Minister's side, because he has put himself in a corner that has shown light on people, and people have the understanding of, hey, we need to go. I think we need to go in a different direction.
Well, there's a comment, somebody saying, I guess one of your ideas last time was to replace a cemetery with a drag race track in Tabernacle?
That is far from correct.
Okay.
I did introduce what we thought is a sport that need to be brought to St. Kitts and prevent some of those illegal races on the road. The sport is in Nevis. Right. And so the area of which it was identified was in Tabernacle along the main road, but across from the cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so I went, I did the homework, I did the research, see if it has the space and the capacity to put what was designed. And it's funny that the person said that, because I have confirmation in the works that, and it was on SKN Times where the Prime Minister would have met with some drag racing people, and they came up with a plan similarly to what I had, put it out there, and it's going to call the Timothy Raceway, and it's going to cost $4 million. So my idea wasn't far-fetched. It was an actual good plan, and it was more than drag racing. It was for the people of Tabernacle to have something close enough that they can call home. It would have been outfitted with bars, and so it would have been more than just drag racing. It would have been a business opportunity for people to have bars and have a lime. We would have been having music festival race, Christmas race, carnival races, so that we can boost that type of sport in St. Kitts and Nevis. Not only that, go on the education side. It would have been outfitted with a mechanic area where people could have learned the trade of mechanicship. So it was a total package, was the intention of what the racing, the drag race ship put in Tabernacle. It was a complete thought-out process. And I hold nothing back from that. If given the chance, would still endeavor to establish that racetrack where I said I would.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So this, just for clarity, this would have been across like where we now call what's known as Amanwak?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think, and you see, the politics comes into play. That same area used to be a farmland owned by a lease by a farmer from Phillips's, and since my announcement of that, look who has occupied the land, Big T, the Prime Minister's nephew. So, so those are interesting things when you look at it. But, I don't get into that part. I just focus on the intention. It was pure, it was just, and I think it would have contributed a lot. And given a chance, I still think it's worth the while establishing in that area.
Okay, well, I've heard that there will be a third candidate, a third potential candidate in your area, in your constituency. How do you think that would affect the fight that you have now that there's somebody else coming into the arena? You don't only have to worry about winning against the current Prime Minister. No, you have to worry about somebody else that may potentially win over you.
Well, that's fair, but I haven't seen. I remember seeing last week there were like a little poster going, with some PLP candidates, Labour candidates, and there was some vacancies with the PAM Slade. So it is somewhat surprising to me, but nevertheless, it's politics, and you don't know what can happen.
Remember, I said potential.
Right. But my focus remains the same. My focus is not even going up against the Prime Minister. My focus is to win the hearts and minds of the people of Constituency 7. That is my focus. If so be that it's Prime Minister plus one, then then that is it. I think I've pretty much sacrificed and showed people that, hey, I'm willing to do this. I'm in it. Not for me. I am not desperate for power. I am desperate to assist and provide the opportunities across the constituency. That is my focus. So regardless of who comes, my message will be the same, that Leon Natta Nelson is experienced and competent and willing and able to represent the people of number 7 and beyond.
Okay.
Right. Well, I mean, as we kind of navigate through what's happening politically, it seems as though people are beginning to ask questions about who benefits, who suffers, who's the biggest loser, etc., etc. From the standpoint of the Labour Party, I believe that, and again, I have no inside knowledge, but it does seem as though they have wisely taken advantage of the seeming confusion at the government side, launching candidates, being very visible and vocal as a alternative to the government that is there now. Is that something that you guys had been preparing for? The reason I'm asking that is it seemed as though the response was swift and precise. Is it something that you guys had anticipated? Perhaps we may be put in a position where elections can come earlier than one might have anticipated.
Right. I'll start off with a smile, and I'll answer you by going back to I think it was the 26th of May, 2021. That is when I did my first interview at Island Tea. And similar question to you at that time was about the leadership of the party, to which I explained I have been around Dr. Douglas for some time, and rightfully so. I remain committed to his commitment of taking his word that he will not contest the next party conference, and that he would move on. We would have a new leader coming along, and that has happened. And so, having that happened, the other constituencies followed suit. It was always under the process of CSAC, the Candidate Selection Advisory Committee. It's a continuous working committee. We look at all the candidates and MPs around the party, and we say what is the best fit, who is most likely to better fit to serve the people in each constituency. And that is continuous work being done all the time. So during that time till now, even when we launched those two candidates some months ago, we knew where we wanted to go with our politics. We knew where we wanted to go with our representation. And we had so many applications, but we just had to take time, go through the process to make sure that we pick the right persons to carry out the task, because it's a daunting task. Did we expect to be in this position where we are now with this government? I can bravely say yes, or at least I can bravely say yes. If you look at what has transpired, at some point in time, if you look at, just take a time and just listen to the rhetoric that has been given out over the last several months by the government. One of which was particular to me when in a show, I could say by Patches Live, he said on the very first day of cabinet, one constituency number 4 representative would have asked for a specific position that is usually assigned to the Prime Minister. And that was telling for me, because it meant that from the very first cabinet, things were not in order on their side. And it was only a matter of time before things happened. If you look at the conventions that has happened in previous years, if you look at the statement that Sean would have made 2 months after the election saying that he's the next Prime Minister, all of those were signaling the political atmosphere that things were not how they ought to have been in a government setting. It's at the end of the day, I think one asks about the losers and the winners. When situations like this happens, the biggest loser is the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, but when change come about, the biggest winner is the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Given the situation now, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis is losing because there is no proper leadership. There's not a functional cabinet. Despite you hear all of what is coming out of cabinet, it's not functional. And so there are difficulties across ministries, which shouldn't be because of the dysfunction. So I hope and pray that this could be resolved. And I think the best resolution for this is going back to the polls. Let people decide after all of what has been said and done. Let people decide. And I think going forward, whatever the decision is, it will settle down the country, for a while, for the desired time of which elections are usually called. So I look forward to that, and I hope that we can reach to a better place for the sake of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
So let me rephrase this question better. Mm-hmm. If you were put in the position where you were elected, what changes would you be able to bring about, given the current situation, or what would you do differently?
Given the current situation, first of all, being elected on a labor team, an all government labor team, however the winnings are, but preferably all 8, I would say. We have the chance to hold each and one and all accountable for our actions. We can't look across and say, oh, you're from a different party, you is responsible for that. Oh, you from a different party. No, it's a oneness. It's an all-inclusive approach on the same agenda, not different agendas, not hidden agendas. And so it makes it easier for us to work as a team. For myself, I have to stay committed to the cause, committed to the mandate. There's no need to be shifting here and shifting there. Understand what is the mandate of the people before you get elected and go according to the mandate. You're there to serve the people. Be committed to that first, everything else comes easy after. And so once you are committed to that, I think it should be easy sailing. People can go comfortably to know that you will be out there searching for jobs, creating jobs, find a way to bring opportunities to people, whether it's in entertainment or any other aspect. As a matter of fact, I have a meeting scheduled with some guys, some musical artists from Phillips's area. I need to show them where it is that they can't just rely on being called up for a music festival. They can't just rely on performing here and there and saying, because sometimes the music here gets a bit drawn out. They have to find a way to expand. And so I want to share with them the ideas that I have and how they can get their music from point A to point B and be successful by developing themselves and their minds and their music over a period of time. So, being committed is definitely critical to that part.
And I mean, Jade asked a question specific to the present situation. There has been suggestions that one of the things that could have helped to avoid the situation and something that should be instituted to help avoid it in the future is the institution of specific legislation to do exactly that. For instance, legislation that speaks to good governance, integrity in public life, etc., etc. Would that type of legislation be something that you can say you'll be committed to at this time?
Yes, and let us give credence to where it's due. We understanding that premise, we took the first step. We were the first one to says, let accountability start with us. And in accounting, and being an accountant myself, there's no partial accountability. Like there can't be partial piece. It's either you're accountable or not. That's just it. It's either yes or no. You're accountable or not. And so we took the first step by coming up with a code of ethics that provided a platform for the behavior of our candidates in government and out of government. That's the first step that we took. And all of the candidates are asked to sign on to that so that they understand what is expected of us by the party. When I say party, not just the leadership of the party, but the people that supports the party, the membership of the party. That will then be transferred into government. Our behaviors, our ethics, our moral standards of how we conduct ourselves. So we shouldn't be going into a government with any skepticism about our characters, our business line, our credit line, none of that. We should be in good standing, not perfect standing, but in good standing with our party supporters and go into government knowing that the public will have confidence in that. Yes, there are some things that were hot debate several years ago, Public Life Integrity Act and those of the likes. We do believe in those things. In a modern day, and with all that has been going around, if you look at the situation in BVI, if you look at similar situations across the world, it's time that we advance to those type of things. That's why for some time I would never understand why we had changed the scope of one of those legislation. I can't remember what it is. I'll get back to that sometime. But we have to remain atop the Caribbean in terms of our procedures, our practices, our information, our transparency, our accountability. We've done so in so many different regards. But I think good governance is where we can improve and where we believe that we can make a difference.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, you know how time goes.
Yes,
and
yes.
When you're chatting, it flies even
Yes.
faster.
Yes.
So we would have to wrap up because the clock on the wall is telling us it is 3 minutes to 10.
Oh, wow.
Yes, which means we are bringing to a close this episode of Island Tea. But before you go, is there anything you want to leave the listeners and viewers with?
Does he want to tell us?
I
does
kept
he
my
want to tell
promise.
us about?
I delivered.
Well, hold on. Azim is asking.
Yeah, I was about to ask him if he wants to let us know about how much fun that they'll be having in the meetings when they watch what happening on the Unity side. If y'all be just here,
you can imagine the group chat, sir.
How the group chat looking? How the group chat looking?
Man, it's fabulous. It's fabulous. But we are focused. We are focused on the people. As fabulous as it is, because they, fabulous could also mean, But we are still concerned that the people's interest needs to be looked after. But every journey deserves sometimes to enjoy a moment. If you look at our public meetings, we enjoy ourselves because we love being there before the public. We love putting up ourselves, enjoying ourselves. That is the type of energy that we want to bring to governance in St. Kitts and Nevis. We want this place to be a place where you can live again, smile again, go out again, feel good. Not everybody feel tense and watching everybody because of political partisan and those type of things. Make St. Kitts a livable place again. And that's really where I want to leave it, that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is committed to making St. Kitts and Nevis a place where each and every one of us want to live again. We want to hear good news about St. Kitts and Nevis. We want to hear about development, education, everything successful in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I think we are poised to do that. We are committed to do that. I am committed. The leader is committed. My colleagues are committed. And so give us a chance. Give us a chance at this time around to make sure that when you install a government, you will be happy thereafter. And we give you our commitment. I give the people of number 7 my commitment. And I look forward to whenever the elections are called. As Nature B said, I can't wait.
Okay. All right, there you have it. Thank you, Natto, for joining us this morning and, sharing your thoughts and your words with us on the ongoing situation and what may be coming up very soon.
Right.
I'm pretty sure you will be back to give us some more insights when time draws nearer.
Right.
I know that you'll have lots to say. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me every time.
Yes.
Pleasure
and thank you for the tea as well that you promised.
Of course. As if I'm sure you'll get yours in due time.
Indeed.
Right. Thank you. Thanks again, guys.
Bye.
Right.
Well, boy, there you have it. Another episode of Island Tea, Azim.
Easy so. We got to leave. We got to go. We got to disembark. But, yeah, Jade, it's very interesting how the whole thing is wrapping up, especially with everything that's going on across the Caribbean. But all we could do is watch and wait, right? So,
Indeed, boy, indeed.
Watch and wait. But guys, it's been a pleasure talking to you today on Wednesday. And I really hope that you guys continue to have an amazing day. Live good with people. Treat people as you'd want to be treated, and hopefully as we go through the week, we could say that we're a little better off than we were last week. But unfortunately, until tomorrow, you're gonna have to do without them tea for a little bit. Just a few hours. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yes.
Same time, same
Wednesday
place.
will fly. Something interesting will happen today because something interesting always happens in the country. It's just for us to wait and see who will be the main character today.
Indeed,
Hope it's not you, Azim, because I know it's not going to be me.
Not on this hump day. So, but guys, we appreciate all you guys who take time to come out and listen to us. All you guys who check us on the digital platforms, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, with Media SKN's website, TuneIn, etc., etc., etc. We appreciate you. All the persons who listen on your FM dial at 98.9, big up yourself one time. The callers, love it. All the persons who comment, you guys are the real MVPs. The chat room, they'll be going. That's its own little world right there.
Listen, they just be having their own discussions within our discussions.
I love it. I love it so much. And guys, just know that really and truly, this show wouldn't be anything without you guys' contribution and the fact that you guys take the time out to come and join us in the morning. and we really, really do appreciate that. But I just want you guys to know to spend more time
hold
in your
on.
content. Oh, you got something here?
Yes, I have to remind the people to stick and stay to Win Media all day today. We have Money Matters coming up next. You guys know money does matter, and it is very important to stick and stay. Don't miss that one. And then after, your favorite journalist will be on to talk to you on Voices. So stick and stay for that one. But you may proceed, kind sir.
Well, yeah, guys, I just wanted to remind you to spend more time living your content than posting it. And to remember, don't stress too much. You can't have everybody's cup of tea because you is not a mug. See you guys tomorrow.